We won! Yay! But what did we win? In this video, I'm going to go over what all the OGL debacle lately has meant, and what will it mean for the community going forward, as well as I'm going to answer a few questions I've had on videos that are recent and not so recent that I just haven't got around to yet. Should be a short one, so I hope you find it useful. Enjoy. Before we get into the meat of the video, I gotta pay a few bills. So, if you want to skip this, just look down in the description below. There I've got a chapter index that will allow you to skip forward to any part of the video that you're interested in.
Now I'd like to take a few seconds to talk about how you can help this channel and Dark House Rules Games, my design studio, provide you with high quality game products and informational videos more often. To skip this part and get straight to the video, just click on the chapter title reference in the video description. First, I would like to thank everyone for their support so far. Even video likes and comments are a big help. Right now, my efforts with this channel and Dark House Rules Games are relegated to my free time, so my release schedule is slow at the moment. Outside of the videos you see here, I'm also writing and illustrating the City-State of Psionic and putting out the Champion of the Month, drawing new art, making new game tokens, and writing ready-to-use character sheets for each of the champions of Rajat who were active during the Decade of Heroes. One of the easiest ways you can support these products is also free. You can sign up for the Dark House Rules Games newsletter, see link in the video description. From that you will receive free game accessories and news about what I'm working on. If you want to make a big difference in my release schedule and the quality of the products I produce, you can directly support my work by subscribing to either my Patreon or Subscribestar pages. For less than 33 cents a day, you can not only help ensure more great products, but you will get access to scores of gaming accessories, with more being added monthly. Everything from game art to new magic items, NPCs, monsters, and battle maps. The links to my newsletter, Subscribestar, and Patreon pages can be found in the video description below. Thank you very much for your support. I look forward to making great game products for you. Now back to the video.
Alright, let's get down to the brass tacks on this and not sugarcoat anything. If you are a big fan of WotC, you may not like this video because I'm going to say a lot of things about them that are not very complimentary. I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to give you the crusty old grognard perspective on it. As I said in my two videos from last week, WotC's DM problem and WotC the OGL lie, Wizards of the Coast is not your friend. They have always been much better marketers than they have been game designers, and part of that marketing was fooling you into thinking that you needed them or their permission. If you look at the WotC the OGL lie video, you'll see that the OGL was just a marketing tool. You didn't need their permission to use their basic rules. All you had to do was not plagiarize, and you were safe. Especially now that they're afraid of bad press, they're not going to go after somebody who's in the right. To sum up, Wizards reinstating the original OGL with an analogy. They have gone back to trying to get everybody to be sheep, when before, with the new OGLs, they were trying to sick their dogs on you, have them eat you, turn you into dog shit that they could scrape off their shoes and fertilize their gardens with to make big profits. So, if you don't want to go back to being their sheep, always look at them with suspicion. The only reason they went back to the original OGL was they saw that they were losing all their market share and that their ruse was not working. Do not let them pull the wool back over your eyes. The original OGL is just a marketing tool too. So, and that's true of any OGL. Just a marketing tool. They've got no legal right to the game mechanics themselves, as long as you don't lift large sections of those game mechanics word for word from their products. They can copyright the actual wording, but if you reword it, there's nothing they can do about it. Alright, now let's get to some questions that were asked, some of them in this last week about the OGL stuff, and some of them in older videos about old school D&D. The first question is from Andy Sickniflock. Sorry if I butchered your last name, Andy, and also sorry for waiting this long to get back to you. I got sidetracked and then realized that I hadn't answered you. His question is in the video, how to use psionics in AD&D 2nd Edition. There he asks, which do you think is a better defense mode, Mind Bar or Conceal Thought? In that video's comments section, we have a discussion about defense modes and which one is the most powerful in the greater hierarchy of defense modes. Andy argues that Intellect Fortress feels like it should be higher in the hierarchy than Tower of Iron Will because instead of having a 3-foot radius, it has a 3-yard radius. So I'm going to answer as far as my thoughts on which one is actually more powerful and why. Having looked at both Intellect Fortress and Tower of Iron Will's descriptions, they do very similar things, although Tower of Iron Will has a 5% better chance of being turned on because it's Wisdom -2 instead of Wisdom -3. Intellect Fortress is 2 PSPs cheaper per round and does have 3 times the area of effect, so you would be able to get more people huddled together and protected by it. The big advantage that Tower of Iron Will has over Intellect Fortress is that it just works better. It may not protect as many people, but the people that are protected have more protection. See this photo of table number 14 from page 26 of the Complete Psionics Handbook. It shows the mathematical advantages that Tower of Iron Will has over Intellect Fortress. Alright, moving on. Codename Age asks in the comments of the video, how to run horror RPGs, 10 tips for horror GM about running Theater of the Mind games, because that is one of the tips given in that video, to use Theater of the Mind instead of maps and minis. It allows the player's imagination to do a lot of the heavy lifting for the DM. But as you can see here, I'm going to paraphrase it. Basically, he says that he's not real sure how to run Theater of the Mind, and his players don't really know how to run it either, which is in the reply that I gave him in the video, not all that uncommon nowadays because they have been pushing to go maps and minis for the past few editions so hard that that's the way everybody thinks. They've got their head lost in the grid and they're not using their imaginations so much. My advice to you, Codename Age, is descriptions, and encourage your players beforehand to, if you've got a question, ask it. In my game, before somebody tells me what they're going to do, they'll ask me questions. They'll say, okay, do I look like I'm in range to do this? Do I look like I could reach them from that? And their character has done enough to know about that far away I could probably hit somebody, or that's about how far I can reasonably walk and still be able to do something. So I'll tell them yes or no, or if it's iffy, I'll tell them, maybe. Or if it's like, they're 700 yards away and they're wanting to try to hit somebody with a bow shot, I'll say this looks pretty far out of reach for you. You can try it, but it's going to be a real low chance of success. So a lot of it is, 1, giving them good descriptions, and 2, making sure that they're not afraid to ask you questions. So that's all there is to that. Now we're going to move on to the last question that I'm going to address in this short video, and it's not even really a question so much as just something somebody said that they were either just kidding around or they really didn't know that much. So I figured it needed addressing, just to maybe other people are of the same mindset and just don't understand. It is from a commenter whose username is D&D Legacy. And he was commenting on the video, is Athas cut off from the multiverse? There he says, the 9 swords of Tyr were taken to Mount Celestial and given to the god Tyr after his resurrection. So now the city-state of Tyr has a god who rejoined the world into the multiverse. That last sentence was very hard for me to read because the wording was quite unusual grammatically. I kept trying to add words or change words as I read it. And as you can see, I just said laugh out loud gods on Athas. To address this, the city-state of Tyr has nothing to do with the god Tyr. It, like most Dark Sun city-states, are loosely based on cities, countries, or cultures from ancient Earth. very loosely based. Its inspiration was the city-state of Tyre, which was a Phoenician city-state that was eventually sacked by Alexander the Great, and the name was just a bastardization of that. So it had nothing to do with the god tier. Alright, so I hope you found this video useful. Remember, WotC is not your friend. Let them die. Don't go running back to them, because if you do, you let them pull the wool over your eyes again, you become their sheep again, and that will allow them to continue to put out low-quality products at a premium price. Until my next video, I hope you have a great day. Goodbye.